Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at the DRF race of the day for Thursday, August the 13th. It's race number 9 at Saratoga, the Union Avenue Handicap for fillies and mares going 7/8 of a mile. They're New York breds. But before we get to the analysis, please head on over to the Saratoga Handicapping Shop, where you'll find PPs, picks, clocker reports, betting strategies, and all of the must-have tools to win big at Saratoga. DRF.com/spa. Here's the field for the Union Avenue Stakes. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. And Mike, I wonder if this is going to be a rider's race. We take a look at the Timeform US pace projector, and I agree, the 5 Carrera Cat is very fast out of there. Radikowski down towards the inside, she might be in a little bit of a tricky position. She likes to be forwardly placed. I don't believe she's as fast as Carrera Cat, and she might end up getting stuck down on the rail.
I mean, I guess we'll see how Jose Ortiz elects to play it. Dan, you're right. I'm not going to argue, too much with the pace projectors. Carrera Cat does sort of feel like a one-way speed kind of horse, but you know what? So is Radikowski. She's actually really fast. I realize that most of her races are route races. But, the last time she sprinted, I know it was a sloppy track. I know it was against maidens, but they left with her that day. A horse tried to go with her. She dispatched that rival, and she won easily. This is a very fast horse, Dan, and I think Ortiz is sending from the rail.
Radikowski, the number 1, just won the Critical Eye last time out, and we're going to take a look at that race right now. She only wins by a neck over Mrs. Orb, who's also entered in the Union Avenue, but keep in mind that Radikowski was involved in a pretty solid pace battle with the favored number 5, More Mischief. We see More Mischief languishing in third. Radikowski is still on the lead. Mrs. Orb is going to try to get her, and Mrs. Orb tries her heart out, but the wire comes just in time for Radikowski. I think this race is better than the running line indicates for Radikowski.
I do too. I mean, you could see her getting a little bit tired there in the late stages, and I think she had a right to do that. Going a mile off the layoff and having to race a pretty an informed horse and More Mischief at that point. I mean, she just ran really well in there. Not that Mrs. Orb didn't run well too, but Mrs. Orb, sort of would have been, in my opinion, would have been taking advantage there had she gotten up. Radikowski ran really well in that race. I'll tell you something, Dan. I don't think the cut back to 7 furlongs is necessarily a drawback for this horse. She's fast. I think she can sprint.
The 2 is Forever Changed. Stakes placed at Finger Lakes last year. She was placed in a very tough spot off a long layoff in her seasonal debut. She ended up in against Indian Pride, who won with a 94 Beyer speed figure in her next start, the Shine Again Stakes at Saratoga. I think it was a good race off of the layoff and that she showed a little bit of speed. She tired. She should be sharper second start back. She just probably has to improve from a Beyer standpoint.
Yeah, it feels like it. She definitely is okay. I'll give her that last race. She was in too tough. It does feel like, though, she's really going to have to improve against the 3 favorites in this race.
Mrs. Orb really came to hand during the latter half of 2019 for the underrated Michael Maselli barn. She won 4 in a row. We just saw her effort in the Critical Eye Stakes, where she probably took advantage of a hot pace up front. The good news is there's a chance the pace could heat up once again in here. My one issue is I think she needs a little more distance than the 7, even with a fast pace. I've always liked Mrs. Orb going a little longer.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you in that regard here. I'm not that worried about it with Radikowski. I'm more worried about it with Mrs. Orb. Rock solid horse. She could get a pace to run into here. And if she gets a pace to run into, I'll expect her to be trying to make up some late ground in this race. I just preferred other horses in here.
Collegeville Girl, the number 4, goes out for a trainer, Richard Vega, that sends live ones to Saratoga. Case in point, Collegeville Girl in her career debut back in 2018, scoring at 9-1. This filly looks like she's coming to hand. She's won her last 2 dirt races, including this race at Parks on July the 1st. She has nice tactical speed. We see her on the outside in the white noseband and the blue silks. She still has some work to do with the 16th of a mile to go, but once she changes leads and levels out, she finishes it off. Another that needs a little bit of a Beyer boost, but she's not too far off the favorites, and she'll be a good price.
Yeah, I agree. She's actually pretty good. This is a filly who started out her career like she might really be pretty good. I feel like, some things went wrong with her. And it just felt like maybe she wasn't ever going to get there. But you know what? I think she's starting to get better now, and maybe she just needed that time, Dan. I don't know if she can beat this field, but if I was just going to take a shot in this race, and I'm not suggesting I'm going to do that, but if I was going to and I didn't want the favorites in here, I'd be betting Collegeville Girl.
We talk about Carrera Cat being a speed, but You remember she won the Union Avenue last year, sitting second in the early portion of the race. And I wonder if that's going to be in the back of trainer John Morrison's mind, knowing that Radikowski is breaking from the inside and that Carrera Cat at least has that winning experience sitting just off a horse in her hip pocket. After winning the Union Avenue, things didn't go right. I think this layoff is just what the doctor ordered. She has run well fresh in the past. I think a good trip is coming. She might be in a little bit steep against the two favorites.
Yeah, that's kind of how I looked at it too. I do think she's a good horse. We'll see how they decide to play it with Carmouche off the break here. I think it's at least, sort of worth mentioning, Dan, that when she won this race last year, yes, she sat off another horse, but she sat off a horse who just really had no chance. She's not going to sit off Radikowski in this race and call that a perfect trip. At least I don't think she will. We'll see what happens. I know she's good enough with her best race. I don't think I'm going to take her in here, though.
And the horse that might directly benefit if the 1 and the 5 get involved in a pace skirmish is the 6, Newly Minted, who shows the ability to sit just off the pace and draws a cozy attack post position outside the 2 speeds. Let's watch Newly Minted's most recent race, the Heavenly Prize. And remember, this is an open stake going a mile. She is a big favorite. She's in between horses right now. She makes the lead. She puts away the horses that she was in between. And the horse on the outside, Crimson Frost, is going to run her down late. She's been beaten at odds on in her last 2 races, but to me that just indicates, Mike, she was crying out for this layoff, and she has run very well fresh in the past.
Yeah, and I also feel like she might be crying out just for a little bit shorter distance, Dan. I really do think she's more of a sprinter than anything else. She's run fine. I realized 3 of her last 4 starts, she finished second. She was a big favorite in all 3 of those losses, but she actually ran pretty well in all of those races. I really like the cutback for her. I really like the outside post. I agree with you that the freshening could really work for her. And there is a chance that Radikowski gets hooked up with Carrera Cat, and this horse could be sitting in a perfect trip.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Thursday race of the day, the Union Avenue Handicap. Mike's going with Newly Minted, hoping for that nice pace tracking trip on the outside. I think Radikowski might still have the most upside and the most talent of these horses in this race. I'm going 1-6. You're going 6-1. I think you get a slightly better price on Newly Minted this time around.
Yeah, I guess that would probably be the case. I mean, I didn't think there was that much to choose from, to be honest, Dan, among the 2 favorites. I'll take Newly Minted, but I think it's pretty close.
Race number 9 at the Spa on Thursday is your DRF race of the day. It's the Union Avenue Handicap with an approximate post time of 5:17 Eastern. Good luck.